episode.
I will. Are we good? By the way,
we're in.
No, we're on. All right. Well,
We're on.
welcome to episode 18. 20.
20.
You were fucking wrong. Well off.
20.
Yeah, he said 17 before.
Wow.
Oh, we're sorry. Anyways, welcome to episode 20 of the Platform Podcast.
I feel you guys need to just don't count. Just go episode beta and episode omega and just make up words.
This is episode
You know what?
alpha.
You say, when you're introducing the episode, you say, welcome to the Platform Podcast. This is the episode.
Yes.
Oh.
Done. Yes.
We might edit that bit of it.
We will, yeah, we're going to edit that in. We're just going to use your voice.
What was the sandwich you were eating, Johnny?
Dude, I'll walk you through it. It
Okay,
was
tell me.
A wholemeal
Layer by layer.
bread,
Okay.
which is nice. Plenty of butter. I like butter.
Yes.
With then
People make a mistake with margarine. Margarine, number one, not good for you.
No.
Number two,
Margarine.
butter.
A little bit of a silly science fact. Margarine is two molecules all being plastic.
Really?
There you go.
Just
Yeah,
quietly.
and I don't
and
want
we'll
that in
move
my
on.
sandwich.
No.
So it was a dairy soft, very nice butter, lots of it.
Yes.
I ran a mayonnaise,
Ooh,
You know,
what,
full
full
egg.
egg?
full
Okay.
egg, of course.
Okay.
Full egg, organic.
Brother's sitting there like, what the fuck?
And
We didn't
I
even
like
get
to
through
put fucking plenty of that on there as well.
Sure.
We ran a champagne ham,
Champagne. Okay.
a semi-sun-dried tomato with a tasty cheese. Very
Wow.
It's
simple.
very
So
posh.
it's a ham cheese tomato, but the semi-sun-dried takes it up a few levels.
It's a
True.
very
good.
very posh choice there.
You're a very cultured degenerate powerlifter.
A connoisseur. A connoisseur.
A
of
connoisseur.
sandwich.
And I could eat them all day. Like,
If I could eat sandwiches all day and not have a heart attack, that would be delightful. I need Amy to just be like, hey, this is what I want to eat. I want to eat sandwiches 5 times a meal. Maybe throw in a shake just for football performance,
Yep.
and then they were good.
Did you hear how Andrew
Lang
Lang?
story.
How Andrew Lang literally thought Johnny only ate sandwiches every meal, and then all he did was eat sandwiches every meal,
You're so influential, Johnny. You're so influential.
and he still sticks by it.
yeah, did he go to you and say, I would like to be on this diet?
Yeah, he's like, I'm on the sandwich diet. I'm like, dude, that's not the fucking diet. He eats other food.
Does it
You know
make-
what, though? He
Does it make
fucking
Johnny
increased his
interesting?
squat by 55 kilos.
Well,
Could have been
Yeah.
more though. We've
Oh,
had
shit. Oh, shit.
could have been 400.
Langy came in here to start because we're at start and Paul's at his home. Go figure.
Yeah, it looks like you're in the lunchroom.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, they're at my clinic and I'm at home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Isn't it like
weird.
5 minutes from the clinic?
No,
Okay.
it's about 20 minutes.
Okay. Fuck
But
that.
I'm being responsible. If I went to the clinic, I wouldn't be able to drink anywhere near as much whiskey.
That's, again, debatable because you would have forced Brandon to drive you home.
He's actually something I didn't think about.
Fine.
yeah, I would have done that just to see you blind. Before we continue, just to let everyone know, we are actually interviewing. Well, we're not interviewing. We're just sitting back and watching the conversation between two legends of Paul and Gawain, both frequent guests on the show now.
Yes.
My spirit animal, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah,
Correct.
you're very much a spirit animal. Both spirit animals.
What we're going to do is Paul and I are going to have this conversation, and then we're going to try to engage the rest of you.
We
Mike,
make no promises, but we will.
The best part about this conversation is that we've got Jace, the video, and Niall, audio, and Bob, Johnny's partner here. They can't hear your half of the conversation, so they're only hearing us laugh at you two.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
they're
like-
going to hear.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to hear.
I think what the world needs to know is, how did you two meet?
Well, it was a bright Saturday morning.
It was
It
a
was.
wondrous moment.
Actually, it rained that morning. I went to Kmart to get fucking
Don't
umbrellas.
fucking ruin the story. Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story. Jeez.
It was a magical day.
It was magical.
Yeah, the stars aligned.
If I could flick my hair, I could. But
If I could flick my hair, I would. I used to be able to.
do you this is probably more of a question to Brando, but do you feel that you got because the long hair for so long that you feel lighter now?
I do feel lighter. It's interesting you say that. It's significantly lighter.
There you go.
Which is quite liberating.
Aerodynamic now.
I don't think they thought you were being serious.
Aerodynamic. It is.
Feel for speed now.
Was that a serious question? Sorry.
Yeah, it was. How you guys met.
Sorry, Johnny. I apologize. If it was Brandon, I probably wouldn't give a fuck. But as I haven't been invited to Sunday dinner for a while, he's in my shit books.
What do you mean? We can't cross borders.
Cross.
Wait a minute. Does he do Sunday dinner?
He does.
When did I do a Sunday dinner?
Every Sunday. Purpose of Sunday.
Yeah, but when have you attended a Sunday dinner?
The Sunday that I was up there with me and Clinton were there.
No, that was a breakfast. No, that was a Saturday night dinner.
Can I just very quietly say, I actually still live not just in Queensland, in Brisbane, and not only have I never heard of this, I've never been invited.
Well,
but that's
technically,
okay. It's okay.
You were actually invited to the epic dinner and turned me down.
No, I'm not bitter.
He's hurt.
Okay.
I was hurt. I mean, I offered to, him and his wife, the lovely Claudia.
There's no need to try to back out of this now, mate. We all know where I stand, so we'll just move on.
Thanks, Wayne.
It's going to be like 3 hours of fucking tearing up Brandon.
Why don't we agree to this?
Poor Brandon. It'll be fine.
To be fair, we didn't have a choice of this. We were talking about this before. Mm-hmm. All I got was screenshots of you two having the same conversation going, make this happen.
Well, obviously.
You're welcome.
But anyway,
Yes.
do I now direct all of my comments to Johnny?
Yes.
That's what I've been doing since the beginning. So.
Because we can have a Sunday dinner.
Sandwiches too.
It'll be a sandwich dinner.
Yeah.
Sandwich platter.
Can you imagine?
Like you all each make a type of sandwich?
You know, in your interview, Paul, when you were talking about making sandwiches, it reminded me so much of my old man. Rest in peace, old fella. But like the making of the sandwiches, I just remember like every Sunday morning, he would make. It was obviously a breakfast sandwich where I swear to God, the thickness of the bread was a good 2 to 3 inches. And then just like, he would just squish it down. I'm just like, that's why you've had 9 heart attacks, son.
It's worth it.
Oh my God, so good. So good.
But this is the thing, and I have this conversation with people all the time. You've got obviously Johnny and Brando and yourself and the crew. You train because you've got specific goals and weights you want to achieve, and you're athletes and you're right. I train to eat more sandwiches.
Smart.
For that reason.
Smart.
If I don't, I will have 9 heart attacks.
I saw Paul run the other day.
Get out.
Yeah.
I know.
Was it from responsibility?
Funny you mentioned that, actually. Funny. I tell you what, the hammy's still not right, though.
Oh, whoa.
He sprinted.
My hamstrings are more scar tissue than muscle at this stage.
I've never met someone who's hurt themselves as much as yourself as well.
I reckon I am delirious through isolation, which is probably what made me run. I'm putting it down to isolation.
Everyone's starting.
You're not even in isolation. You've been at work. I've been walking down to...
We talked about this, and nothing has changed in my life. I work from sun up to sundown. I end up in the clinic, and then I go home. Nothing has changed.
Except that I come and see you more frequently because I live down the road and in isolation.
Except that Brando is a homeless bum and turns up every day.
Just literally, I just went, oh, hey guys, let's do it.
Hey, what's up?
I can't do anything.
Don't mind me. I'm just here.
To be fair, I did bring hand sanitizer the other day.
You did bring the gin hand sanitizer. And
it smells like pure gin.
I'm not going to lie. Sammy, by Thursday mid-morning, was eyeing off that sanitizer a little too suspiciously.
I should have just let it go ham.
Oh, fuck. Is that your secret trick to come and visit more? Just take something down every day?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, sometimes I'll just come in and be like, hey.
Hey.
I think I was here every day except Thursday. Oh, I even came in on Thursday.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
After the workshop.
That's right. Yep.
What I find really interesting though, Brando, is the gradual descent into unemployment that you seem to have gone through. Like I remember, like if we put the starting point at the Epic Training Day, you know, you had been to the barber the day before, you were well groomed, immaculately turned out, and a beautiful man. And yes, Thursday when you turned up, yeah, all I could say is disheveled is probably a good. Like, I don't think a comb or hair wax has seen your hair in about a week, let alone the beard.
I want to say that's a lie, but it's fully true. I've really descended into the warmth that is isolation.
Oh, very much so. I think the best statement or the best comments I've seen from you so far with this isolation is when we sent out the SOS message for hand sanitizer, and your response was, I think I know a guy, just let me put on some pants. And this was at midday. This was at midday.
It was 9 a.m.
What the hell, Brandon?
Well,
wasn't work time yet.
It wasn't work time. Have you not heard Johnny's rule, Gawain?
Well, I have heard Johnny's rule. Johnny specifically told me last week or so.
Yeah. What is your rule, Johnny?
So the rule is very simple because now, well, except for a few people, most people are working from home now. So you need to have rules to be able to determine when is work time and when is not work time, which is very important.
It's genius.
You can get a little caught up in your own home and not know when you leave work. So it's very simple. When the pants are off, no work. When the pants are on, you work. And that's it. Yeah. So, but you got to remember, when you have a lunch break, you take the pants off because you're not working.
So the real question.
When do you determine that the pants go on, though?
When, I guess, I don't know what people do with jobs. Glenn, you have a job.
Early, mate.
You open a laptop, maybe? Or what do you guys do in these other real world places?
Just wear a collar and tie and then, no pants.
And no pants.
If I notice that my old lady's awake, then I'll better put some fucking drawers on.
Who's wearing pants now?
I'm not.
Yes.
I actually am wearing pants because I'm outside, and anyone walking their dog out the front of my house would get a rather interesting view.
Yeah, so some might say delightful.
I was going to say delightful. So
yeah, then people will be walking past that more often if that's what they get.
Brilliant.
So, real question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Focus, Paul. Focus.
I'm in.
How did you two meet?
Do we want to answer together, or one gives their version and the other gives the other version?
One version each.
You can go first. I'll end up, messing this up.
So, okay, all right. Well, I'll jump in on it then. So the first time we met was obviously at the Epic Training Day.
Yes.
And look, my perspective on it, my view on the whole meeting is quite interesting because I obviously sit outside the powerlifting world and the community. Coupled that with my not anymore. Coupled that with my complete oblivious behavior to anyone's status of any sport. So I had no idea who Gawain was and how big a deal he is.
He's not that much of a big deal. He's a bit of a shit cunt, really.
I'm fucking amazing.
Amazing. He's an internationally renowned. I mean, he's got a lifting comp named after him.
There you go. I'd say I'm quite epic, but no, I'm not.
Can we
I don't even have any kids.
Sound effects?
I don't even have any kids.
Can we get sound effects edited into this podcast? Yeah. So need a drum roll.
Yeah.
But so I've rocked up obviously for the Epic Training Day, not really knowing anybody there, including excluding Brando, because I hadn't even met Johnny yet. I'd known a lot about Johnny, and I felt we were kindred spirits.
Infamous
stories that came through. And so anyway, we did our thing. I had my conversation with Brando about what he wanted to do on the day and, what preparations he wanted me to do. And, Brando in his, typical forward planned, organized manner that
I made that shit up on the spot.
Whatever. So I actually remember messaging him the day before, going, mate, look, how do you want me to take this? How do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? And he's like, oh, mate, just turn up. She'll be right. So I did.
That was his attitude. I was like,
normally I'm much more professional than this.
I was like, talk about this, talk about that.
And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. So I did. So I turned up. So I hope somebody recorded whatever I talked about that day, because about 10 minutes before we started is what I decided what I was going to talk about. And I'm not going to lie, when things leave my mouth, they're lost to the universe, never to be heard again. So,
not anymore.
Not anymore. So anyway, I met Gawain in the car park that morning.
Yeah, you did.
At the back of a van.
That's right.
And he had some subwoofers and electronics.
He did. Large trench coat and a brown paper bag, but I didn't find it weird.
A whole bunch of clocks. Weird.
And that was it. So I started having a chat, and I think it was a conversation over sushi.
Yeah.
Was the first time we properly started talking. And on a serious note, I must say, like, what I found very interesting was, obviously born, bred and raised in Ireland, grew up there, moved to London. Gawain obviously did not. Australia, Indonesia and America, and how similar we seem to be, how similar of a kind of a perspective on life. Would that be right? Would I be
very 100%.
Yeah.
And what was it like for you, Gawain? Was that story correct? Was it?
It's very correct. Very correct. I actually had this conversation with a friend of mine a couple of days ago, when I was like, because you know what happened to me yesterday? I worked out a full day of itinerary for me yesterday. Okay, cool. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to do this, X, Y, Z, 3 o'clock, 3:15 between this sort of gauge. I need to be able to be up and ready to be on my cardio, go for a walk, come back. It'll leave me in like 15 minutes or so to be able to get ready for the podcast, and I'll be ready. We're ready to go. Let's go. Got back here. I'm like, it's 10 to 4. Brandon normally messages me at least like half an hour beforehand. It's weird. Sitting here at like 5 to 4. Fuck. It's tomorrow, motherfucker. But in that conversation to a friend of mine, it was just depicting this entire thing, because I was asked, how did you meet Paul? And it was literally like Paul and I on a break whilst Amy was doing her shindig. We were talking, and sometimes you just meet people who just have obviously grew up on two different sides of the fucking planet, who have the same perspective, same viewpoints on a lot of different things, and just can obviously connect really well. It literally began with a conversation with the three of us, which turned into a conversation that was very passionate with just me and Paul.
Yeah, let's be real. I was never in that conversation. I just brought the sushi.
Brando brought the sushi, and that was it.
Someone goes, Amy's finished, and I'm like, what? She has another half hour. Fuck. And then I just spun some shit, came back. I was like, I come back in. You two are heated in the discussion, like a good heated discussion.
Yeah, passionate.
And then I'm like, oh, Gwen, you got to speak now.
He looped me up, is what he did.
So it was interesting. It was like I love those kind of interactions. I love the way you can find people from completely different backgrounds and completely different situations, and it just kind of reinforces, I guess, that idea behind morals or ethics or whatever way you want to put it, that the underlying above everybody or between everybody is that. You know what I mean? You can be, me and Gawain outwardly couldn't be two more different people. Gawain.
I thought you were twins.
Well.
That's unlike that's
disrespect
to Paul. That's disrespect to Paul.
Right, there's no need to bring it down low. I know I've given you shit about it, But you look at the two, and Gawain and me couldn't be more different. Gawain's a powerlifter, successful in business. He wears shirts and ties. I, on the other hand, have been looked at on quite a few occasions for turning up to serious medical conferences in shorts and a polo shirt. The last time I had a meeting with a group of surgeons and other physios, I turned up, hadn't shaved, my hair was out because I was tired of tying it up, and I was in trainers and shorts. You know,
you're ready.
I was ready. Yeah,
you're ready.
And look, and I think one of the big things behind that is I always value what's in the inside. I don't really hold a lot of value on external things. I feel if my abilities are judged on what I wear, you know, if people look at me and going, oh, he's wearing business shirt and his business pants and shoes, he must know what he's talking about.
Yeah, it's not the case.
It's not the case. But I found it really interesting. I think that was the big thing that clicked. You know, this is my personal opinion between myself and Gawain. It was an understanding and a moral belief. You know what I mean? And I just found it very interesting on how that all worked.
Yeah, I think it's a derivative of Journey though as well, because you know, listening to your story on the podcast and knowing bits and pieces, and me being able to communicate the things that I've gone through from my journey, from obviously an athletic and coaching perspective. Yeah. There's so many things that are intertwined, which are so relatable between the two of us, and those things that obviously those hurdles in life can be obviously relatable to the both of us, and we can relate to that. You know, obviously going forward, giving us perspective. So, and being involved with, you know, those trials and tribulations from an athletic development perspective, whether it can be perceived at a low level or a high level, is the things obviously there's a mutual respect there.
Absolutely. 100%.
You guys both mentioned the same perspective. What is it? What do you share?
Well, Paul was saying it's that moral standpoint of us people, humans as a culture and society today. You know, that's the underlying thing is that obviously that perspective being, you know, a lot of people that judge on the forefront on the outside, but you know, you got to understand where people come from and that journey and how we got there, and you know, that experience is what transpires.
Yeah, and look, and that's exactly it. Like, I think it comes from, you know, even what we're going through at the moment with the coronavirus and isolation and things like that. You know, it's when you're put under pressure, when you're you know, at your worst is when you learn most about yourself.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And you learn that when you strip everything back and when everything is removed and you know, you personally have nothing left, you learn not only a lot about yourself, but you learn a lot about society and cultures and things like that. And I think, you know, it's from that perspective that you see that true person. And I think you learn to read people. Does that make sense? I think it's not until you've gone through true adversity do you really start to see through the bullshit and be able to identify who the good, who the bad is, but not just in the person, but the traits that are required. That makes sense. Yeah. You know, you learn what's truly important. You learn what to look for, and you learn you learn how to see it in people, and hopefully you learn to bring it out of people who haven't been through adversity. Yeah, I think that's what drew me to Gawain most of all, was his ability to take the kind of adversity he'd been through and convey it in a way that developed others, that helped others. Does that make sense? Because like, I wouldn't wish upon any of my friends the adversity that I've gone through to get to where I am. But what I try to do is guide them through adversity when they're going through it. I'm not sure if that makes sense, but
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And I think that was, you know, when we talk about how how we met and how we were drawn together, I think it's, you know,
it was a conversation based on the privileged mindset now, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. And I think, you know, it's one of those, and not to turn universal or spiritual or anything like this, but, you know, you can see a good soul. You can see, you know, when you've been put through these kind of things, of which both of you guys have as well. I know you know.
Of course.
I know you know what we're talking about, like talking to you, Brando, and your journey. your personal and your business journeys, and definitely talk with, you know, with you and kind of the things that you've overcome, and Johnny, even talking to you the other week about, you know, the gym and what you're going through, you know, I think it gives you a rare perspective.
100%.
And a perspective on life that you know, it changes you.
If you let it, if you want it to. That's the thing. I think there's a conscious choice you got to make through adversity that goes, all right, well, I can either let this happen to me or for me, whatever you want to do.
I think it changes. I think I totally agree with you, but I would slightly shift that statement and go, it will change you, but it's your choice how you let it change you.
I'd agree with that.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think this is the interesting thing as well, you know, going back to the situation we're in at the moment with this virus and things like this, you have a choice of how you're going to deal with it. You have a choice with how you react. You know, you can react to this as going, oh my God, woe with me, internalize, this is terrible, this is shocking, this is really bad. Or you can go, I'll get through it. I understand it. And not only will I get through it, but I'll come out of it better. And you look for the positive, you look for the opportunity in it. You know?
Yeah, we just had Matt Stenzel on the podcast beforehand, and, you know, he said exactly that. Like in the first week, it was very much fuck. And then it's once you accept the fact that this is what it is, like, and, you know, if anyone's gone through those trials and tribulations of their own, once you accept of how things are, then you can actually start to improve on your situation. If you just keep neglecting the fact of where you're at, fuck, you're going to stay there for a little bit longer. Soon you can get.
But that's where I was excited to do this kind of podcast, knowing what's going, and, you know, I'll invite him to take over talking in a second. But I feel that, you know, the way I look at this, and I feel Gawain's the same, that we have a responsibility at this point to mentor, guide, lead people, you know, direct friends or team members in our businesses, whatever it may be, through this time. You know, because when you've gone through adversity, you've come out the other side, and when you've you know, looked into the void and walked away, you know, you have that responsibility to then help others, help and guide.
100%. 100%. And I think all four of us here are looked at, you know, to a degree in whatever in our realms as leaders. And like,
absolutely,
like obviously you've got a staff to look after Paul, and Johnny's got a whole community. Gawain's just, you know,
a team. I'm not a big staff person. I feel, and you've met all of my team. They do significantly more for me on a day-to-day basis. But I find staff is
fair. Your team
underselling.
It's a little demonstrative in a way, isn't it? It's just like, no, they're my people. They're with me. I'm with them.
That's 100% right. 100% it. I feel I've never liked the term staff. I think it's always offered a separation between me and them. You know, my belief has always been, we're in this together. I'm on this journey. Come with me. I will lead you through the valley, so to speak.
So, Gawain, I think it's your turn to talk.
I don't really need to necessarily say anything else. I don't echo what the brother said.
Paul's really good at that.
Yeah. That's pretty good.
I'm just trying to find a picture. I hope I still have it. Just based off what Paul was just saying.
Can I just say, it's distressing that I seem to be the only person sitting back here enjoying a beautiful single malt. I feel I'm well, I feel like I'm kind of perpetuating the stereotype right now.
If you were a social media guy, Paul, and you followed my social media, you would probably assume that I'm a cigar smoking alcoholic by now. So,
wait, you're not?
There you go. I'll be right back.
He's actually going to get ready.
and so he should.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we'll continue on. We'll fill the gap.
No whiskey for me for now. I've got to do a deadlift later tonight.
You got to train after this.
Yeah.
How much you got to pull?
I want a 260 will be the last warm up. and then we'll put two singles after that.
Big boy.
So I'll let the 260 decide what's going to be next. Is the game plan. I want to get that fucking 300 I've missed 5 times already. Sometime in the next sort of.
I must actually say, Johnny, because I obviously see all the stuff you do up on social media and you post. I mean, I love it. I love the way you've embraced the training. You know, you're a man who works with just big weights and getting people to just move heavy shit around.
Yeah.
And the fact that you've embraced this and not just kind of gone, oh, fuck's sake, I've got to do this, but the way you've done it is actually quite impressive. Particularly when you posted that picture about a week or so ago of you doing your video in call.
Yep.
Filter that made you look like you were in a Star Wars.
I loved it.
Star Wars cockpit.
But it's my new way to coach.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Told you it, mate. It's great.
Love it.
But I have to admit, like, if there was in the training coaching world, if there was a subcategory of trainers, coaches that you would have gone, there's no fucking way. If they close the gyms, this category of people are out of a job. It would have to be powerlifting coaches.
Yeah.
Because of just the heavy stuff that you make guys move. And yet you've found that niche and you've pushed forward, you've adapted and you've overcome. You know,
Yeah.
I think 100% commendable.
Yeah, thanks, bro. I mean, I think like anyone who was put in this,
Cheers,
I
mate.
love it.
Cheers, buddy.
Who was put in this situation, like as a business owner, like anyone else, it's you either sit here and wallow and be sad about what you don't have, or work out what you do and adapt and overcome pretty much.
But even based on what we're talking about with, you know, personality, attitudes, like even guys that have adapted, overcome, have done it reluctantly. Like you see the stuff they post and it's forced and it's, I'm doing it because I have to, you know, but you have fun with it.
Yeah, I love it.
And you look natural with it. It's impressive.
Yeah, man. And I genuinely think moving forward, this will stay in the business. This isn't going anywhere. I worked with a client over in the UK, and in previous we did a very typical online working relationship with some videos, a couple of phone calls here and there, weekly check-ins. But he was stuck at home, isolated in the UK, and I was like, man, let me try this FaceTime stuff with you so I can make sure I've got it dialed in when I get to my next clients next week. And he's like, let's do it. It was absolute fun, but now all of a sudden I'm coaching my guy one-on-one in the UK now, which is
that's amazing.
Unreal.
And that's awesome. And that's exactly the thing. And you know, going back to what we were talking about before, it's all about perspective and how you approach these situations. Like you can be short-sighted and stuck in the moment, or you can see it for the opportunity that's given to you. Like if somebody turned around to me and said, 6 months ago, I need you to turn your business online, I would have said, go fuck. Have you looked at what I do? How am I going to do what I do, either manual therapy or specific, you know, training and technique correction? How do I do it online? You know, 6 months later, if we get shut down, we've got 4 different formats that we're ready to roll out that will probably maintain about 70% of our client list working. You know, it's just how you approach this. And it refers back to what I was saying about earlier on. It's that understanding of diversity and recognition that it doesn't matter. It's down to you. It's like, you know, it's that other tattoo on this arm, which is the mountain doesn't care. All that matters is your attitude. You know, you stand at the bottom of that mountain, you can either look at it and go, you're so high, you're so hard, I'm never going to climb it, it's going to be so difficult, it's going to be shit. Or you can go, I'm going to get to the top of that mountain and the view is going to be spectacular. Either way, no matter what way you look at it, that mountain hasn't changed. It's an innate object. It is what it is. You know?
My experience living in the US for 2.5 years is the definitive thing that created that shift in mentality. You know, people hear the stories of the coaching side of things. People hear the stories around you know, the experiences that I had with the NFL, but what they don't know is the rejection. What they don't know is the failure. What they don't know is the injuries. They don't know that I was living on my coach's floor for like 18 months. When all I had was a sleeping bag, you know, and like my pillow was my sleeping cover with my clothes stuffed in. Like people don't know that. And those are things that, like, they force you into to go on to what you were talking about just prior. They force you to adapt. You may not know because it's not the time to know right now. You may realize this in 5 to 6 to 7 to 10 years time when circumstances like this where you hit a roadblock or a hurdle in life and you can just pivot and carry on. You know what I mean?
That's right. It's that vicarious experience. Do it because you've done it.
So what I was saying to you 2 to 3 weeks ago, whenever it is we spoke the last time, Johnny, is that you're onto something. Eventually, you're going to have to pivot.
Yeah.
Eventually, you're going to have to find a way to scale.
Yeah.
Right, and that's where you're going to continue to pioneer what you're doing, which is going to be fucking sick.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't see a bucket ton of coaches doing what you're doing. But you need to be prepared.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, well, I've already had some people hit me up that aren't even contacts, like people I'd say I know, have sent me messages on Instagram or whatnot and said, hey, I've been seeing what you're doing with virtual stuff. That looks awesome. How does it work?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, business is growing, right? Everything's
Who would have thought your business is going to go in a fucking recession, right? In a coaching business, it's a PT. What the fuck? So 10 years from now, you'll be able to reflect back on this conversation and be like, you know what? I was kind of somewhat at one stage going through my mind thinking I was going to be out of a job and broke. But, like, my business flourished when 95% of other businesses were going down the toilet. I adapted. I pivoted.
Yeah.
And that with that knowledge and that experience is your job, right, to pass it on to others.
Yeah.
But but Gwen, do you not then come from, like, to put the question to you, and the way I've always looked at it is failure. People always view failure and talk about failure in a negative manner.
Well, no, opposite.
I'm a such a believer in failure. I don't know if love failure is the right way of putting it, but it's not until we fail do we
really recognize.
Do we learn? Do we know the strength in us?
I think it's not
to be able to push forward.
It's like it's not a love. You don't love failure. Obviously, there is a if you do fail, there's a shit feeling with it. But you learn to need failure. You learn to welcome failure.
Agreed. You seek it almost.
Absolutely.
You know, if we use Johnny as an example, you know, there's two perspectives to look at the way Johnny has moved with his business. One is, I don't think I can do this. I think this is not possible. I don't want to try it because it can negatively affect me. Maybe I should just cocoon myself, tell my clients I'll see them in a month or two and, you know, it'll work. Because I'm afraid I'll fail. I'm afraid I can't do it. I'm afraid it's not possible. Or there's a very good chance this is bullshit and it's not going to fucking work. But you know what?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens when it does.
Much better to have tried.
And then I'll move on from there.
100%.
You know, and that's kind of what I'd be interested on your insight for a bit on this, Gawain, is this idea around failure. I feel I've had so much of it in my time that you come through, like you said, 10 years down the line, and you look back and you go, my biggest stepping stones, my biggest achievements have come as a result of failure. Yeah.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. And it's where I was going with what I was saying with the experiences that I had whilst living overseas, right? Is those failures, like I didn't get signed to an NFL team. I didn't get the big dollars. I kept getting told no, that you suck. You know, or yes, you're great with this, but you're not so great. I shouldn't have drank whiskey with a protein shake.
I was going to say, that was a mix.
The amount of rejection and the knowledge that, okay, if I don't get a fucking move on right now, I'm going to be sleeping on the streets. I need to adapt. I don't have a choice right now. All those little things, and then understanding where I was, forced me, by choice, I would have much preferred to play in an NFL team, but it forced me to pivot. But what I took from that, and I say this all the time, what I took from the experience was not that I didn't get to play in the NFL. It was that the life experiences that I took, because every hurdle post that was treated differently, and it was treated differently not even really consciously up until fairly over the past couple of years, right? Because it was like, oh, okay, don't have a job or whatever it is, or I've hurt myself. Okay, how long is it going to take me until I get back? Or okay, I can't do this right now. How long until I can do X, Y, Z?
Mm.
It's almost negating the normal predisposed, mentality of sorry me, because that's the culture that we live in right now. And this is part of what we were talking about, right? It's like, okay, yes, what's going on is really bad, right? Mm. But don't be the fucking person that sits at home and is like, poor me.
Yeah.
Because there are literally people out there who died.
Yeah, that's right.
You're not in a position. You're not in a position to be poor me.
Yeah.
You want to be poor me? You want to be dead?
That's right. And I think this feeds into the privilege. But one thing I want to say before that is going, I love the perspective, and it's that drive to push forward that I can appreciate in you. It's like anyone else listening to you, myself included, would turn around and go, you did play in the NFL.
Yeah.
You made it to the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
You trained with them. You put the pads on. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's the NFL. You are, and forget about the world. Just think about America. So then when you put it into context, this percentage lowers when you put it globally. You are in probably the top 0.1%.
Yeah, we were talking about this. Tiniest a percentage.
So you did make it.
Yeah.
But in your head, I didn't. I had to overcome my
specific to that goal that's in a box, which I garnered for myself. No, I didn't make it. But what I did is I achieved something that what did we say? 0.0001 amount of men on the planet can achieve, right?
Yeah.
With no football experience and just from powerlifting, just from hard work and just being Neanderthalic with my inability to give up, right? So.
And this is I think something. It's like a really good point for people to understand, and you reflect it really well. It falls into privilege. It's this appreciation for who you were and wanting to drive forward versus getting caught up in your situation. Well, me, I had a conversation recently within the last 6 months with an Olympic athlete, and we were talking about this, and they were going through a bit of a downturn in form, and they were just stressing about it. And I don't want to say because then they'll know who I'm talking about. But the point is, they were like, everything is shit. The world is shit. Everything I'm doing is bad. Like, woe with me. Internalized. Everything is shit. Everything is. And I turned around to them. I said, "You've made it." I said, "If you retired today,
you're a fucking Olympian, man.
You are better than less than 1% of the entire globe have not achieved and will never achieve what you've achieved. You've already got there. You have won medals. You have represented your country on multiple stages, whether it be Olympics and so on, so on." I said, "You've achieved. You owe no one anything. You don't have to prove a thing, but you're in here going, everything is shit and everyone's against me and everything's bad."
Yeah.
You need to stop, and you need to recognize what you've got, and you need to recognize what you've been through to get there. And you just need to calm down and look forward.
Yeah, you need to be more grateful.
You need to be more grateful. And this is what we talked about, because we'll get into the privilege, which is the bulk of what we were chatting about over sushi. It's this privileged attitude of going, the difference between privilege and not is grateful. When you are grateful for where you were and want more, you become the best.
Yeah.
When you are privileged, you are held back by your own insecurities, your own inadequacies, your own made belief things. And the reason why is, in my belief, is it's because it's in your head someone else's fault. You don't take responsibility. What you learn, and I'm sure that I'm 100% positive everyone in this conversation knows what I'm talking about, when you learn through adversity, you learn to take personal responsibility. You learn to go, I can do more, or that was my fault, or I could do better. It's the privileged person is the person that blames somebody else. And that was the conversation I was having with this Olympian. You've made it, mate. You're already there. Who are you proving what to? You know, if you can't go, actually, this is within my grasp to succeed. This is my ability. You'll never achieve it. And I feel this follows into coronavirus or whatever, all aspects.
Everything, aspects of life.
That's right. When you learn to turn around, when you are on the bones of your ass with nothing to your name, and it teaches you to go, do you know what? The only person that's going to get you out of this is you. You have a choice. You can either wallow in self-pity, or you can go turn around. You can go, do you know what? I have faith in myself, and just push forward. And that's what I found interesting with your statement going, and I've replaced for the NFL, but I kept pushing forward. You accepted that.
Yeah.
You know, you embraced that. That was you. And you never once, and this extended the conversation we had around the table, you never once said, fucking coaches never picked me, or they had a grudge against me because I never played NFL. It was always, it was me.
I'm lucky that I was in the environment that I was in. You know, Coach Getz was really, really good to me. Obviously, he let me sleep on his fucking floor. You know, but the constant conversation, and Coach Getz now coaches. He's so far, he doesn't even want to coach professional teams anymore. It's so far beyond him, and it's kind of like similar to like what you were saying with the way your coaching is going, Paul. Like, yeah, professional teams would be cool, but it's like it's kind of comme si comme ça in a way. You know, Coach Getz now coaches at a ridiculous facility in the Hollywood Hills, coaching, you know, pro athletes and celebrities and things like that because he wants to. Like, how fucking bliss is that? It's like, no, I make good money. He actually makes really good money, but I make great. I mean, he's obviously reserved. Like, I make good money. You know, I live in fucking Hollywood. I meet all these cool people. They make me better at things that obviously not directly just with coaching. I'm so thankful for that. It is what it is. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, but like, it concerns me, particularly for people that are sub 30, that they don't know how to be in control. And because they come from, because they come from privileged background, or because they come from circumstances where there is, you know, and I'm trying to be respectful at the same breath because we're talking about obviously a large population of people, but, you know, the majority of people would have gone through a variance of hurdles and things like that. But like, do you really know what it feels like to be told like you're shit at your dream? Do you really know what that feels like? Do you really know?
Do you know what it feels like to actually fail at it?
Yeah. Do you know what it feels like to get there, to put years and years and years and years of work, and then get there and be like, nah, I'm sorry, not a chance.
Because I'll be honest with you, it's one of the biggest reasons why I've shied away from elite athletes and top-level athletes, because the crop that's come through now, they've only known privilege.
Yeah.
You know? They've only known you're the greatest thing in the world, you're amazing, you're fantastic, you're brilliant, you know,
exactly.
Whatever you want.
Exactly.
You know, all you got to do is look at professional soccer players in England, NRL players over here. You're amazing, you're brilliant. We want to do whatever we can to make sure you play with us. So we will hide stuff,
everything.
Stuff, so they have no ability for accountability. So you wonder why. And look, I don't know if I'm right or wrong. It's my personal opinion. But you look at a lot of these fall from graces, you know, and every sport has them. You know, you've got this whiz kid that's come through in NRL, rugby union, soccer. He's the next best thing. He's great. He's fantastic. He's amazing. He's brilliant. He suffers a setback. He has a drop in form. He has an injury, whatever, and it never comes back. There's no resilience. There's no, you know, they've gone up going through school and going through life that when they did fail, someone else took the burden. Someone else hit it for them. Someone else moved it on from them. And this coronavirus, I find, is very interesting now because it's indiscriminate.
Yeah,
you know,
don't give a fuck.
Mom and dad or your coach can't help you. You have to overcome. And a lot of these guys don't have that ability. And don't get me wrong, I don't hold any animosity towards these people. And this goes back to what I said at the beginning. I really feel a responsibility to be open with whoever wants my help because I've gone through it. Because you don't know what you don't know until you don't know it. And this goes to a lot of this with privilege. A lot of these guys have never been put in this position where they have to adapt and overcome. And they just don't have the skills. So you can't be angry. You can't be going, you're a fuckwit.
You're a fucking idiot. Yeah.
You know, you have to sit there and go, mate, it'll be all right. But as I said before, it's one of the reasons why it'll take a lot to convince me to work with professional or elite athletes. Because of the privilege. And this is what we talked about. It's accountability. You almost
like I play, when I was coaching full time, I played the bad guy card because I knew I had to. Because it's exactly in the circumstance that you're talking about. You're like the kids that we were taking on, obviously from an array of different socioeconomic backgrounds, right? There were kids that weren't good at sport, but were from a privileged family. And there were kids that were good at sport who had zero. And then there were kids who had both, right? Who were elite and were told that they were elite from the beginning of their fucking sporting career as a child, right? But I needed to have the same. I applied myself the same way that I would as a competitor, right?
Yep.
I need to, when it gets to comp day, I am going full bore assassin, like we're going to fucking do this, right? If you walk in my gym and you give it disrespect, I'm going to call you out. I don't care if you're the best linebacker in the state or if you're the punk kid trying to play third string. I don't care. You are all held accountable the same way. We'll all be treated the same way, and we will all do all of this together. If you don't like that, get out. I don't care about it. I don't need the money.
And it's funny, like, and Brando sat out on a good few sessions of mine. And as much as I joke about it and we make light of it, you know, the two things that I say to Brando's guys when they come into me, and perfect example is Langy on Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
You know, I make the joke about what I do is character building, but it is.
It is.
My job is to find what you can't do and make you do it. And you will be fucked off and you will be frustrated. But you know what?
Hate me for it. You might hate me for it.
You will. And I keep saying, you'll hate me, but I have a thick skin, so that's fine. But you'll get through it. You will build character. We joke about it, but it's true. And the other thing that I always say to them is, don't get frustrated. My job is to find the things you can't do and make you do them. So if you find my sessions easy, then I'm not doing my job. You will never come to see me and be able to do everything that I give you, going, oh, yeah, that was easy, or my technique is perfect. And like, what do we have Langy at the end of the session for? The 60 kilo deadlift, and he couldn't do it. He was blown out, couldn't lift the bar off the ground. He was just,
That's pretty funny.
At 60 kilos, I believe his what did he say? It was humbling.
Yeah, it was, yeah. He had him doing like a whole bunch of like pre-engagement stuff before and laying off the back of his last mate. Just fucked. He was fucked, the poor guy.
I made him do everything. We identified obviously where his weaknesses were, and that session we just made him do everything that forced him to use it. So as a result, every exercise he was unstable. He was poor engagement, which created huge muscle fatigue. And so by the time he got to deadlift, and then we made him do an exercise with deadlift, that meant that he wasn't able to fall back on his cheat movement. He then had to do it in a way that forced him to use his weaknesses. And as I said, you know, like Langy, what's Langy's deadlift at the moment?
272.
272? We're talking 60 kilos. You know, and that's and the point is that's the humbling thing. But that's my job. My job is to make you do these things.
Can you do a question, Paul, for you? When you're doing that with guys, not necessarily Langy, can you see which ones will come back to you and do all the work?
100%.
Do you know off the bat, like, I'm going to give you this and I'll see you in 4 weeks, and I know you're going to be shit still, or I know you're going to exceed?
I think but it comes as you back to what you're saying before. Like, you'd do the same thing, Johnny. You'd have someone walk in and you know straight away if they're a fit to yourself or not. Like, and it's funny that you say, you know, people are going to get frustrated with you. You know, like, I like it. I genuinely aim to be an arsehole sometimes. Like, because if you can't handle me, like my whole mantra is like, someone calls me an arsehole in a coaching session, like, fuck me, cunt. If you can't handle me, how the fuck are you going to make it out there?
There's a C word. You finally dropped it.
Oh, I drop it all the time.
Push-ups. 10 push-ups.
I can't do push-ups.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Like, if they can't handle a little bit of adversity in a fucking training session, good luck fucking out there when shit hits the fan.
My job is to make you better. But answering your question, Johnny, you can. 100% you can. And there's two traits that you'll find of the person that you know will do it. One is the silence. The silence guy.
The silence.
The guy who comes in and you can see the anger in his face. But he's the guy. No. Actually,
are you talking about? Are you saying?
Kev.
Are you saying that these are the people that are coming back?
No, these are the people that will do it. Absolutely.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So Kev is a perfect example. Kev internalizes it.
Which one's Kev? Kev's the band guy?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Kev takes responsibility instantly.
I play drums up here.
He's a guitarist.
the anger that he has, like but he doesn't say a word because he takes it on himself. It's like, this is me, this is my responsibility, he'll do it. And then you have someone like Langy, who falls into the other category of the person that you know will do it. He's the guy who wants to know everything about it. The one who goes, why am I doing this? What's this for?
He's analytical.
He's the guy who sits there going, I can't do it, so I need to make a plan, and I need to embrace it, accept it, and I need to make it better. The ones that you know won't do it are the ones after the second session they come back, the ones that can't remember the order of the exercises, can't remember the technique. They're the ones that will stop midway through. They're the ones that just they put the emphasis on me. They put the expectation on me to be the one that makes them do it. And if you're coming to see me and you're the one that's kind of going, what do I need next? How do I do this? Then you haven't embraced what I'm trying to do for you. You can spot them a mile away, and they fall into those two categories: the silent assassin and the analytical warrior. And so you've got...
Makes sense with Langy, man. Makes sense. Look, he's an accountant, right? It makes sense with the type of his personality.
Yeah. But you find people, and it goes back to what we were talking about privilege. I've had patients and I've had guys that have come through that it's everyone else's fault. And so when they come to me, it's my job to fix them, or it's my job to develop them. And it's not my job. It's my job to guide you. My job is to tell you how to do it. My job to facilitate your ability. Because let's be honest with you, I can't follow you around for the rest of your lifting career telling you what to do. As much as I love every patient in my clinic, I'm happier when they're not there. Because when they're not there, they've taken responsibility for it and they've progressed forward and they don't need me anymore. And when you don't need me anymore, I've succeeded.
That's the goal, man. I keep saying that
that's the whole goal
lifters,
of coaching,
man. It's like my job is to get the most as I possibly can out of you from this short, finite amount of time that I've got with you. That's it. Like, I don't have a whole lot of time.
Yeah.
My goal is to get you to a point where you don't need me anymore, or you just may need to catch up for a coffee with me and be like, I'm thinking about the X, Y, Z. What do you think? Right? Yeah. So that then you could take that experience and pass it on to others and do the exact same fucking thing again. And then again, and then again.
And that's right. And I have patients that will come back to me sporadically, 3 months, 6 months, whatever. And it's more of a reaffirmation.
Correct.
As opposed to anything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What do you think about this? Or what do you think about that? And I think this is like, I'm thinking this is the way this is going. This is why this is this, and this sort of business.
It's a good feeling though when you get a person to that point. Like I coach Jace Pagan, but it's not. I don't go do this, do that. It is exactly what you just said, G. It's hey, what do you think of this? And I'll be like, no, it's fucking stupid. Let's do this. Or it's a conversation around affirming beliefs.
Yeah.
I always open with that sort of stuff when they come back, and they want to do that, or they have an idea. Tell me why. Is the response they go, tell me why why you think that you're going to do X, Y, Z is going to be more beneficial to you. Yeah. Tell me why. Just educate me right now. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And that's it. And I think it comes back to, because I have long-term clients that see me regularly, and the reasoning behind it is important to me. Like Clay, to you guys, we know Clay, for example, one of Brando's clients. So he sees me regularly, has done for 18 months, 2 years, but he stopped needing me months ago.
He had a back problem, right?
Yeah,
hamstring.
But he was pulling like 200 or 205.
Yeah, he's back to where he, not at his best. He's probably at 90% now.
Yeah.
Isn't that fucked? Like, that's how I remember people. Like, I remember people like, that's Clay, hamstring back.
Yeah,
and
I do it all the time.
Deadlifts.
I come into the clinic, and guys will go, "Oh, you've got Karen. Karen's called in. She saw you
Fucking
2 years ago, whatever." And I'm like, Facebook Karen. And I'm like, I have no idea who Karen is. Who's Karen? And they goes, "Oh, Karen, L3, L4, bulge disc, radiating pain, blah, blah, blah." I was like, "Oh, yeah, no, I got
Karen.
Yeah, I got
Karen. Paul remembered Ricky Goodyear from the training camp purely because of the container of rice and steak Ricky Goodyear had. The fucking king.
It was impressive. But, so like, as I was saying with Clay, like, I work with guys like that long term because they don't lean on me. You don't need me. My goal is to never have you need me, to have the fix. But then when you come back, you're like, how do I do this with this? It's a sounding board. And it's like I've said to Jonny and Brando, my job is not to teach people from a powerlifting point of view to be powerlifters. Like, I don't have that. That's not my goal. My job is to make athletes that these guys can turn into great. And the great thing about guys like Clay, who take responsibility for that, they take accountability for that. And so when they come to me, they don't go, "Hey, can you fix this? You can make this better." But they go, "I'm here and I'm progressed. How do we get better? How do I get better? Where's my weakness? Where's my problem? Because I'll do it." And then I'm like, then I'll work with you. But my job is not to fix you. Your job is to fix you. My job is to guide you.
Do you find that you deal with male and female athletes differently in that respect? No. No? No. I find that I feel like I'm a little bit tougher on women. Like, women will come to me and they'll be like, I
find women are a little bit tougher.
Yeah.
Funnily enough.
Yeah. Maybe I'm a little bit like too soft on my guys. I might be. But like with women.
You're an asshole.
I said guys, not young boys.
Yeah,
got it. Talk easy. But with women, I'm very upfront. Female athletes, I'm very upfront. I'm like, listen, my job is this. If you don't like that, too bad. Go somewhere else. With guys, it's a little bit different. I'm like probably more considerate. I'm like, mate, we're trying to do this, and we need you to get here, and it's okay. We're gonna find this. This is gonna happen, but we're trying to do this, okay, mate? And they're like, okay, cool. Yeah. Eventually, it's almost like I'm babying them, which I shouldn't be doing.
But why do you think that, Gawain? Why do you think you're different with them? Like,
well, it's probably because I think they're softer.
Okay.
And I probably, it's also I probably expect more of them in a sense, weird sort of sexist way. I probably like, no, you should be a lot more mentally tougher than this. Yeah. I shouldn't have to be like, mate, come on. I shouldn't have to have the conversation. It should be like, let's go, come on, let's keep it moving. We should keep it moving. I shouldn't have to have those conversations where it's just like, mate, you need to fucking pull your head in.
Yeah, I find I will back you on that one. I find female athletes are tougher. They have more resilience.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why. I don't want to delve into the battle of the sexes conversation, but maybe it's because a female athlete who chooses to be a female athlete, especially at an elite level, has to overcome so many more obstacles than a male athlete does. So that by the time they've reached it, I guess back to privilege and whatnot, their appreciation of it is significantly more. So they work hard. They push hard. Whereas as male athletes, I find there's a lot more tantrums and there's a lot more hissy fits and there's a lot more. But I treat them all equally. I don't treat people. Okay. I treat conditions, dysfunctions, and injuries. Mm-hmm. You come to me whether you're male or female. This needs to be fixed. You'll do this. But I do find that female athletes are more receptive, interestingly enough. Yeah. But I just won't take shit either way. Yeah. You know, female athletes will generally listen to me. And if they don't, my response is the same. Do it or go somewhere else. I don't care.
Yeah, that's my response. Male athletes, I'll be like, mate, fuck off.
Male athletes are generally the ones that lark up more. My response is still the same. I'm like, you don't fucking like it. It's over there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's interesting you bring it up. And maybe it does tie in, and maybe it's a beautifully connected tangent with privilege and drive. But
it is.
I find that female athletes, to get to an elite level, because there's male and female athletes across the board. There's weekend warriors out there playing soccer and rugby and everything like that. But when we talk about the 1%, the top athletes, I find that female athletes overcome so much more obstacles that, you know, they generally have that attitude of, it's just one more thing for me to deal with it. Tell me how to deal with it and I'll move on. Whereas male athletes, some of the time, they've not had to deal with adversity because it's all been dealt for them. So suddenly when you deal, in my world, when you deal with an injury, there's only one person that's going to get you out of that injury, and that's you, nobody else. Like and you would have seen it 100% when you were in the NFL. You know, it's a fucking lonely place in the rehab room.
Yeah.
It's a fucking lonely place.
The story that I tell is that I was training alongside an all-pro tight end who was drafted in the second round for the Denver Broncos, played the rest of his career at Detroit, and then moved to Chicago. So a very, very accomplished tight end. And I was training alongside him, and I managed to get a workout with the Bears. And he was obviously the proponent for that, so I'm very thankful. Yeah, sorry. And I remember they were filming my workout for the Bears, and I did my workout in Indianapolis, and I blew my hamstring, not completely off the bone, but it was fucking cooked. So I was doing all my times, and all my movement was just shot. But even then, I was still getting really good feedback from the other guys and from the other players and the coaches. So I knew it was like, man, even me at like 60%, I can hang with these guys athletically. So I was coming off an injury, and I remember my first 40. I'd ran. Prior to the Colts, when I was healthy, I ran a sub 540 at like 162 kilos, right? With a 166, 167 10 yard. So that's like explosive fast, right?
That's impressive.
So it was, which I hear this conversation all the time. It's like, I built a fucking Ferrari, but we put it in a fucking little Camry outer interior. Right. Yeah. So as soon as I just like flipped the switch and just let rip, it just blew all the pistons off it from the front and center. Right. So my first 40 for the Bears, I was just like, all right, my hamstring is still not good, but this might be my only shot. This might be my last shot. So I'm just going to let this rip. And if it fucking pulls off my butt cheek, then it pulls off my fucking butt cheek, and that's it. And I blasted it. And I remember my coach, like seeing my coach as I was running, he's wide-eyed because I was obviously moving really, really, really well. And then just like a gunshot, I was cooked. And where we were in our facility, because we had an indoor facility, like 3/4 size, full NFL field. And what was attached to that was the rehab room. I literally like slowed up after the 30 yard line and like just kept walking, walked out the door into the rehab room, put my hand up and just sat there. And I was just like the therapist there, just put my hand up and sat on his bench. I just like, I'm done. This is it for me. And it's just like, I will never forget that lonely, like tearful experience, just sitting there going, fuck. This is it.
And from my point of view, on the other side, being that therapist, like there's what's the word I'm looking for? There's an appreciation for the position we're put in that sense. Okay, we deal with humans in their worst. I deal with, and when I was working with athletes, I worked with athletes at their worst, because if you're seeing me, you're broken.
You're broken. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And the appreciation I have for working with people at that point, and that ability to work with them to build them up. But you learn the strength of the character of a person who at 6 o'clock in the morning on a cold, wet and rainy Tuesday morning, when no one else is around, and they're in the bowels of the training center by themselves, just doing reps.
Yeah.
It's you know, it's
not good reps either. Not good reps. Not like fun shit.
Half reps. The story I always tell is I remember working with a guy, professional athlete, rugby union player. It was one of those cold, rainy, dark days. It was me and him and nobody else. The team had traveled. They'd gone off. So there was nobody there. There was nobody in the training facility. It was him. And he was a big unit. He was a prop. He had a 240 bench press, 230 bench press. Like, he was a beast. I'm sure you guys would critique his technique, but you know, those were his numbers. He came in and he tore his rotator cuff, clean off the bone, had surgery. We're 4 weeks post-operative. And he came in and it was me and him. And it was a lonely fucking sorry day. And he was doing 2 kilo.
I remember the story.
Yeah, he was doing these front raise to external rotation, trying to get functional movement back in the shoulder. He couldn't do it. Could not lift 2 kilos in a way and in a technique that was needed to rehab. And he just cracked the shit. He got up, he fucking threw it at the wall. It went through the gyprock into the room adjacent to where we were. just pegged it at this wall. So I was like, go get it. So I made him walk out of the rehab room into the other room.
Come back.
Get the dumbbell, come back and finish his set.
Yeah.
That's the best.
And it is and that's the thing. I don't care your reaction. What I care about is how you finish. You can get shitty. You're allowed to be shitty. You're allowed to be angry. It's interesting. A mantra that I've got that I've actually just talked to my daughter about this week. She's 8. She's dyslexic like I am, which anyone who's listened to my podcast before, I see as a fucking blessing.
That is a blessing. 100% it's a blessing.
You got to get through it, but it is. And the mantra that I gave her, because she was doing some work, she was getting super frustrated. She couldn't write a word. And I turned around to her and I was like, I want you to repeat this every time you get frustrated and every time you get angry. And this is something I have said to a lot of guys in the past. It's going, it's okay to fail. It is not okay to give up.
Yeah.
And that's just what it is. And that's the strength of the person. So with this guy who threw the dumbbell through the wall, that was fine. I have no problem with you not being able to do it. My issue arises when you just stop.
Don't you
because
dare.
That is you not taking responsibility. That is you blaming. It's the muscle's fault or surgeon's fault or fucking injury fault. And why did that happen to me? No. You don't have that. You have to. Your job is to get through this. Your circumstances are outside of your control. You know? And yeah, so as I was saying, it as a therapist on the other side of what you went through, you know, in a weird way, we take it as a privilege, but we also take it as a responsibility.
Sure.
You know, it's our job to get you through that. It's our job to push you through it. And circling all the way back to conversations we had at the start of the podcast, you know, this is the responsibility I see across the board with adversity and things that I've gone through, but things I've learned from athletes in the past to kind of layer off this conversation is, you know, I've learned myself, but I've learned from others. It's my job to pass that on, you know, and that's what you need to do.
Yeah. But,
Damn.
it's not sexy to people, mate. It's not sexy to do, People aren't aware. They're blinded by irrelevant factors, the irrelevant walls that are impacting the decision making.
Mate, it's why they put us in the bowels of a training center. No one sees us. Out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
If you're a wounded thoroughbred, we don't want to know about it. We only want winners.
Yeah.
How'd that guy's rehab finish up? Did he crush it?
Yeah, man, crushed it. Went back, played Premier Grade, Premier Rugby.
Sweet.
Did it. Yeah,
that's cool.
It's a process, and I think that's something that people need to realize when it comes from rehab. Bones heal, muscle heals, tendon heals. What you do in that process is what's important. How you allow it to heal is important. How you move through these things. You know what I mean? Apart from serious neural things, there's very, very little musculoskeletal injuries you can do that you cannot come back from. The mental is so important when it comes to the physical. And I could write a paper on the physical of what you need to do, but if you're in there, you're committed, your attitude is right, you follow the process, there's nothing you can't come back from.
It's character building.
And it's character building. And that's it. And that's why I joke about it, and all the guys look at me and they're like, haha, and I'm happy to make light of it. But, Brando now sees the deeper meaning behind when I sit in that room, and you've heard me say it how many times? Going, don't worry about it. It's character building. It is character building. Whether they accept it at that moment or not, but in 2 weeks, 4 weeks, 6 weeks, 8 weeks down the line, I will 100% guarantee you they'll be a different person. And this whole coronavirus will be the same. Character building.
Yeah, we're going to come out a lot stronger for it.
Absolutely.
Again, for those who take it as that opportunity.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Yeah, you've got to move forward with it.
Have to.
And have some fun with it while you're doing it.
Got to have fun while you're doing it. Wearing no pants.
No pants in a
having whiskey and protein shakes.
I was going to say, I again seem to be the only person.
I just want to
I'd finished that, mate. I finished it.
I'm on to my next one. I've refilled.
At what point, Gawain?
Can I just say, wait. Look, Johnny, I understand you got a 240 deadlift, and we'll allow you at least pass this one.
Thank you.
Brando.
Well, I got to drive home, mate.
You walk home. It's 200 meters from where you are right now. Is probably 250 meters from where you live.
Oh, look, I'll give a strong 251 meters, which is just outside that walking zone.
3 kicks of a footy.
It is.
Oh,
so,
mate.
No, I would love to share a drink with you one day, but my guts have not been the best this week, so I've had to.
Why?
Oh, shit, I did. Fucking full no welling.
Yeah.
I was at the workshop, Scott's like, do you want pizza? And I was like, oh, fucking oath, I want pizza. It was not a good time.
But you guys, I'm interested to hear your input. Like me and Gawain have talked about all this stuff. I'm interested to get your input.
If you want to just give us a specific of what you guys said, we were actually having our own conversation while you guys were. If you want to give us a rundown, I have a quick question though for Gawain. At what point did you think whiskey and a protein shake was a good idea? Oh, okay. I've got a 1,000-pound squat.
Oh, well, that's what I was going to say. So it seemed like a good idea.
Fuck you, Gawain.
When I squatted 1,000 twice.
Oh, shots fired.
That's 2 more than us.
That's like double more.
There's
more
2
than double.
thousands than we've
More
done.
than double?
Do our squats together
it's not
equal 1,000?
No,
Okay,
it equals more. It's 500.
All right, I'll put it this way to the two of you guys. Based what we're talking about with privilege and character building and stuff, your experience is how have they shaped you guys as coaches? Because we've talked about Johnny, and I'm intrigued to see how Johnny got to what he's doing right now. And the reason I keep saying Johnny is Brando, I see him every day. I know.
Literally every day at the moment.
Every day.
Unimportant.
I'm interested with you guys, how your experiences have shaped you as coaches and what you experienced based on what we've been talking about.
Well, for me personally, it's just been doing whatever it takes to be able to keep doing what I'm doing right now. Like when I started doing PT/coaching, didn't really know what it was or what it meant at the time, but I knew I wanted to be in a gym. And anyone who I said I was going to do PT said, that's dumb, they don't make money. Yeah. And then where I started, I didn't have any friends or family. I recognised it pretty early that getting friends and family in to coach would be silly because I didn't want to charge them.
Never train family.
Never. And they're super hard to train, right?
Yeah.
So I practiced on them to get my craft right, to know what I was doing. But so that essentially means we just needed to find clients, right? And where the hell do you find clients pre-Facebook and Instagram? So our biggest adversity or challenge when we first started was how to do that. And I think through overcoming that and building the client base I have today, I feel like I can do anything. Because literally back then what we would do is me and another lad, we needed to get some more clients. We'd just walk on the street and door knock people. That's fucking hard work. We literally went anywhere from florists to office building to strip clubs.
Yeah.
Whatever.
They've got loads of expendable income.
To be honest,
I will tell you the backstory on that. So we'd been to offices and we'd gotten nighttime clients and daytime and morning clients, right? Because that's when they can train. So we used to call it Money Monday. Me and this lad Andrew used to sit down every Monday and would come up with a little battle plan for our week. And then we're like, we need daytime clients. Who's awake during the day and isn't working but has heaps of money? Strippers.
100%.
So we just went and door knocked all the strip clubs that were open at lunchtime.
Just want to give a quick shout out to Centerfold Lounge and how I deeply saddened we didn't get to go down at Pro Raw 12.
But for me as a business owner and a PT and a coach, it's just been, from the earliest days, it's just been adaptation and overcome. I'd always sit there and, I never like to think of my business as trying to make money, but at the end of the day, I do need to make money to have a living. So each week I'd work out how many clients, I'd work out how many clients I had and then how many new clients I had next week, and I could always track it. And if I just didn't have enough, so it was like, well, fuck it, no one's going to find them for me. No one's just going to give them to you. And sort of super grateful for that experience. I still got clients I trained today because of those moments where, we went into a coffee shop and said g'day to Pete.
Yeah.
And met Pete. And then, he was one of the only people that said yes that day, that, hey, I want to see what you do. You guys look interested. Yeah. And then the whole time been like that.
And how do you guys feel? Because I'm interested in getting both of your answers to this one. How do you feel your experiences have affected how you guys coach, and how do you deal with that privileged versus kind of that person who's grateful versus privileged? Do you deal with that much? Do you struggle with that based on your background?
I think for myself, being a bit younger, I still tend to get a little bit frustrated. I think I get frustrated because I'm roped into that type of people. I'm under 30 and I'm looked at as those people that are quite privileged. And I've been, to a degree, quite privileged my whole life. And I had that mindset for, a period of my life. But it's the adversities and all those trials that, we spoke of earlier that have shaped me now. In a coaching sense, all the injuries, all the, setback shit that I've gone through has made me a more empathetic coach, has made me be able to speak to clients about the injuries and about the importance of getting it sorted and all that. But I still, and can't say I still get frustrated. I fucking hate people when they come in and they start whinging that, they're not there, they're not getting to where they are. And it's I have to stop myself sometimes. It's cunt, you're not doing it. I can only, I'll give you 20 push-ups later. But it's I can only guide you to where, I can outline the map. I can give you the plan.
Yep.
I'm not the one that's going to make you get out of bed, make sure you eat your first meal on time and do the rest. That's on you. I get real angry when I know people with potential to be great let that down. Because at the start of when it's a new client comes to me, going back to what G kind of said before, it's these are the guidelines, these are the rules, this is what I'll do. this is what I expect of you. If you agree to this, let's go. If you don't, fuck off now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Johnny?
Yeah, man, pretty similar. I like to sort of try and keep them accountable, right? But at the same time, I got a pretty broad client base. Like, not everyone's there to peak and hit personal bests and PBs and stuff. So just trying to work with what they want, and then also trying to be realistic with them as well. So at the same time, you know, someone says, hey, I want to achieve this massive goal. It's like, well, this is what you need to do to be able to do it. I need you to know that. And if you say yes, you need to do that. But you maybe need to also realize that that might be too much for you. Like, you can't do that. Like,
I think it's just more like, you know, it's just, it may take longer. A lot of people, they come in like, oh, I'm going to squat this. And I'm like, no, you're fucking not, cunt. You can't have a goal all the way down. Like that.
So what strategies do you guys use then to overcome it? Do you know what I mean? Like how have you learned to?
It's conversation, man.
Have the conversation early.
I guess Johnny hit the nail on the head when he was like, "Get diverse client base." People come to me, they're broken. I'm like, do what I say. My coping strategy is do what I tell you. You know, whereas you guys have to navigate the fucking shitstorm that is.
I think that all comes though from like how I was dealt with as an athlete when I was being coached. Like I've had conversations when Gawain knows of me messaging him later and I going, okay, I fucked this up, or fuck, what do I do? Don't shake your head. You love me. But
I had a conversation where it's like, I did this. And I was like, why? Why did you do that? I thought this was a good idea. Yep. That's why I do the thinking, you do the doing.
Yeah.
This is why I hand him my last 4 weeks of prep, because I will be done.
But I love that. The amount of people, I love the people who walk into the clinic to me and are like, so, and the moment I hear those words, I'm like, done.
I'm out. I'm out.
That's me and Sammy. That's me and Sammy every day. I coached Sammy in bench the other day.
Oh, you did?
I did. Oh, I didn't coach because #Corona. But
I was gonna no. Let's frame this properly. Brando was being a homeless bum, or a jobless bum. Was wandering, came in as he does every day, right an hour and a half before Sammy's like, oh, I'm trained today. What are you doing? Oh, bench. Oh, I'll come back. I'm just going to organize.
This was organized beforehand. This was, it was.
It was like a man who was just like, you know, he's like, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm an ADD kid without any stimulus. And suddenly Sammy's like benching and you could just see the ears perk up. It was
amazing.
Oh my God, bench pressing. I've heard bench press. I don't care what you're doing. I'm fucking in it.
It was the greatest hour this week. It's been a good week.
Between that and Pornhub, that was the highlight.
Yeah, as I said, I think I said this on a real. Did I say this on a podcast?
No.
That the real heroes of the Corona are Pornhub for giving away free premium. Like, seriously. Everyone knows it. Everyone. Like, shout out to Pornhub. Official sponsors of the platform. No, I'm kidding.
Not yet.
Not yet, he said.
But yeah, no, it's interesting. Do you know what I mean?
It is. And I think you talk about diverse clients, we have to navigate it. But I think it does come back down to, at the end, like, we attract people we want to work with at the end of the day. Like, and I know straight away if you're a good fit or not. And if you're not, I have no qualms with saying, or quarrels with saying, no, you're not suited for me, go forward. And I think that's the way I navigate it now. Whereas before, I kind of like, as a PT starting out in the industry, like I started Good Life where there was 36 other trainers competing for clients. And that's how it was fucking spoken to you at. It's like you're competing with the next guy. It's not as you said before, we're all staff. We're not a team. We're not all on this journey together. It's you're your own in this big pond. So I guess, values. Yeah, and it comes back down to that. Yeah. It's who you are and as your morals and ethics, and I think that's why we all connect on some level, because we are.
So it comes back exactly, and that's I love to bring, as much as I tangent, I like to kind of tie things up. That's a long game, and it does. And like we said before, it comes back to values. Mm-hmm. You're holding true to your values and molding people into those values. You know what I mean? And that's the important thing, what we're doing at the moment. It's if you hold true to what your values are, and if your values are good, and your values are right, you'll be okay.
Mm-hmm. The trick is sticking to it. That's the hardest part.
The trick is sticking to it.
But again, that's not sexy, is it?
Mm.
But at the end of the day, you find, and this is where our responsibilities, as all four of us talking in this chat, who've been through adversity, values are forged in fire. Mm-hmm. And that's the reality of it. Values are brittle if they've never been tested. Mm. Whereas when you've gone through adversity and you've gone through hard times and you've gone through and you've come out the other end with your values intact, they're bulletproof. Values are forged in the fire, and it's people like the four of us on this podcast that have a responsibility then to kind of push forward on that.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Bring everyone with us.
Absolutely. I think that's a really good point, and I like how you tied up your tangent, like the first one ever, by the way. Like you've never.
No. All of my tangents have links. They've all got connections. You just need to be able to see them.
But this one you've tied up really nicely in a bow.
Maybe
you've never done.
Maybe I just need to drink whiskey continuously.
More often.
I would love to see you treat me on whiskey.
In my head, all my tangents are always tied up. I know exactly what but it's funny, like when I was lecturing, it was hilarious. I remember talking to a group after a shoot that I did years ago. And so I went for like 2 hours, and then we did 2 hour additional on top of that. So it was like 4 hours of work. And they were like, how did you tie that? Like, how did it all link? And I was like, I generally work about a half an hour to 45 minutes ahead of myself. So what's coming out of my mouth now is generally about 30 minutes behind where my head is sitting. And it's just, and this is why our podcasts go for so long. I just need enough time to catch up.
To get to
yeah, that's fair. Fuck. I think we will head towards the questions now. But what are we going to do with Wayne?
Just
the questions. But we got to break 2 hours. I think we're pretty close to 2 hours though.
We're coming up to it.
Are we? How far are we?
Not very. I think it's like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Good.
It's been gone. We've got Paul's questions.
We'll give you Paul's questions.
And then we'll think of some new ones for you, Gwen.
Okay.
Amazing ones.
You said Asian ones?
No, I said amazing.
Wow.
I think you said Asian ones.
They can be Asian.
Why can't me and Gwen do both the questions and then we'd be able to compare answers?
Because he's already done it. He was on the podcast again because we love it. Tomorrow comes out.
Yeah.
Well, in the future, this will be in the past.
Yes. So it's already come out.
Yes, it's already out. They should have all listened by now.
This whole podcast has been like Inception. Look at it.
Bro, it is so confusing.
Yeah.
Anyways, Paul, rapid fire questions.
Favorite book?
Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Making.
Nice. You're in a plane crash and then you crash and you're going to live on an island after that plane crash for 40 days before you get rescued. You get to be with one other person. Who will it be?
Gwen.
Oh, cute.
That'd be a reality TV show.
We would make millions.
Millions.
Fuck yeah. Now, obviously, you're going to
Can I disclaimer? Obviously, my wife goes without.
Nah, you said me first, mate. Unlucky. Feed him more whiskeys. He's fucked.
Damn.
I don't.
Now, you're obviously going to be very hungry.
I don't think my wife would deal with me for 40 days on an island without anything to do. So it's probably best I'm with Gwen anyway.
Yeah.
Now on the island,
we would just
very hungry,
talk for 40 days straight, so it doesn't really matter. Sorry, mate.
Leave it out.
We'll just leave now.
We're going again. You're going to be very hungry on this island, Paul, and you could put this in a sandwich if you're interested.
Yeah.
Are you ready to eat a person?
Yes.
In a sandwich?
Absolutely.
Yes. I'd sandwich toast that.
You just hungy it easily. You're hungy. which is another reason why, not that I wish harm on Gawain, but, you know, if he was to pass first, he's unsustainable.
just woke up the next morning, I had my throat slit.
That's it. You know, there's a good sustainable.
Where'd my arm go?
Dog or cat, Paul?
There's a lot of, what's that?
Dog or cat?
Dog.
Lovely. What superpower would you like to have?
Strength.
What type of apple are you?
A golden delicious.
Oh, that's a fucking good apple.
It's a good apple.
Tooth fairy, real? Not real.
What's that?
Is the tooth fairy real?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What is your secret talent?
My secret talent, apart from cooking.
Yeah.
Because that's not secret anymore.
That's out.
Resilient.
Ooh, good fucking answer. Now, bonus questions. Who would win in a fight, Batman or Superman?
That's funny.
Batman.
Oh!
I rate intelligence over fraud every day.
It's not evidence, but
Fuck! Done!
It's science.
This podcast is done. We're going to finish on that note, never to make another episode.
I rate intelligence over brawn.
Thank you.
Batman.
Thank you. Fuck. I'm done.
Mic drop.
Yeah, sick.
I put up on my story, you didn't see it, Brandon, because you're a shit friend. A picture of coffee in a Batman mug, and it said, Batman's not a real superhero.
No, I saw that. I chose to ignore it.
Oh, you chose to ignore it?
Yeah.
Because Amy messaged me straight away, like within like 5 minutes. She's like, oh my God, please tell me what Brando says about this.
I chose to ignore that because that is like, I think it's the most superhuman thing to do, to be a fucking human and do what he does. Done. Out.
he just wears a suit though.
I forgot this is not.
Anyway.
Buys shit and buys stuff.
Buy stuff.
You know what? Fuck you all. Except Paul.
Thank you, mate. I got you back. It's all good.
Anyways, do we have questions for Gawain? Because
I got one.
You got one?
What would your ultimate sandwich be?
Oh, there isn't enough, like...
No, I'm intrigued. I need to hear this.
All right, here we go.
You go, and then I want to tell you a story about Brock, because I kind of want to, I think this can kind of tie in.
Like, when I get asked these questions, I just go straight to, as you could probably tell from an 800 or 400 pound man, go straight to just stupid amounts of gluttony. So I feel like a good white bread.
Yeah.
Right?
In the roll or in slice?
Nah, you slice it yourself.
Yeah, good.
It would be something ridiculous like cheese.
Yep. What kind of cheese?
Multiple different types of cheeses, multiple
Examples.
sources of protein. Like you got tasty cheddar. I reckon I'd end up throwing in like some obscure ones like goat's cheese and stuff like that, just because.
Yeah.
Just because.
Can I just say, Edam cheese is just an underrated cheese.
Oh yeah,
It's an amazing cheese.
I've never had it. What is it called?
Edam.
Edam. Oh no, I have seen that, but I just never had it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Okay.
Amazing. Completely underrated.
Can I eat that with a spoon?
You could.
Okay.
Not normally done, but you could.
Probably like different types of protein. The three main sources of protein. So beef, chicken. We forget fish because fish is disgusting. So like turkey.
Turkey, yeah, nice.
Fair play.
Fish, in my opinion, fish never belongs in a sandwich. I know it's a controversial statement, but
I don't think I'd put fish in a sandwich.
I don't think I'd put fish anywhere near me. Period.
Fish does not belong in a sandwich.
Yeah. And maybe a green tinge of some sort just in case, because Amy will see it and she'll be like, bro, what the fuck? Disappointed eyes. And then I take it out, throw it away, and then eat it and like,
Condiments? Are we getting some condiments?
Condiments, yeah. I was just thinking that. Condiments. Great minds think alike.
Mayo. I see here, I pre-thought this. This was the first thing in my head. I was tossing up between mayo, full egg, and what sort of mustard would I choose?
Do both.
And I was thinking, 100% we're doing both, but like what sort of mustard? And that's where, Definitely seeded Dijon, some sort of Dijon.
Could I possibly throw out just as a curveball on that one? Not a mustard, but like a pickled, pickled onions or.
Yes.
Not pickled, but a pickled.
Yeah.
Fuck, that'd work.
That's.
I'm so hungry.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That was
Love it.
a great way to finish this.
Full-fledged sandwich there.
Oh.
That is a fucking.
Would you do layers though? You do 3 layers at least, yeah.
At least, bro.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it literally ties in great to what I'm about to tell you about Brock. So, actually, I don't know. Did we talk about this in that fucking weird ass group chat we had that time? There's Brock. He had like
me?
Yeah. Well,
No.
Okay.
We
So,
talked about me, which we can't repeat.
Fuck, you need to tell Paul that story.
I'll tell him offline.
Yeah. Anyway, so Brock, back when like Macca's first brought out their fucking like order your own meal.
Yeah.
Brock ordered everything on this burger. Like, you're talking about gluttony. Like, he put everything on this burger and then fucking couldn't leave his partner's at the time's place for a week because he was shitting every 20 minutes.
Wow, I feel like that would hurt.
Yeah,
Well,
bro.
that can't be pleasant.
No, but he literally, like, this burger came out in 4 like large Big Mac boxes because they couldn't fit it all into one. Legit.
I feel that's going to block up to a point where it just forces its way out, and he's going to need reconstructive surgery.
Yeah, like he couldn't, like, he literally couldn't make the 25-minute drive home because he was shitting every 20 minutes.
Wow.
Funny story though, because he has to shit in the shower and stuff. Fucking troll.
Have you guys? This is a recent phenomenon. I don't know if you guys really eat Macca's, so this is probably more directed at Brando because he's a degenerate.
What did we stop and get you on the way
buns.
home? No, hold up. We both eat.
We know that. I'm 400 pounds. That's why I'm directing this at you.
Yeah.
Steamed buns.
Oh, I don't know if I've had one.
I haven't had one. I've only recently heard about this in the past. Exactly. Apparently, this is the fucking bomb.com. Ask for steamed buns whilst at McDonald's for your burgers.
Say it's the bum.com.
The bomb.com.
That makes more sense.
Steamed buns.
Anyway,
steamed buns.
Filthy mind. Can I just say as well, not that I was preempting this podcast lasting a significant amount of time, but when we started, it was daylight, and before I got on here, I turned on the light.
Yeah, you did.
you're a smart man.
On the deck, going, the light will probably be dimmed by the time we finish.
Literally, we have watched the daylight of the afternoon overlooking that oval, or the AFL oval here. It's pitch black.
It's beautiful.
It is.
Thing.
You're beautiful.
But thank you so much for you. Well, thank you both for organising this. Like, we really didn't do much.
Welcome.
We will definitely do this again when we have another spare 3 hours.
Just think about what it's going to be like when we're all in one room. I feel that we need to organise this. We need food, we need whiskey, and we need like an evening just free. And then we'll just keep recording until we've just drunk so much we've passed out, and then you guys can just edit it down to something interesting.
Yes, yeah, just do that.
I feel like we
Just
should
edit it down to 3 hours.
Nah.
We will.
We do it like one of those, like we just fill that table with food,
Sandwiches.
single malt whiskey, sandwiches. Agreed.
Yeah.
And we'll just talk until we pass out, and then it's someone's job to edit it into something usable.
Fucking done.
I like that.
Lock it in, Eddie.
All right, lads. Enjoy your night. Thank you so much for making the time. And we will chat very, very soon. We're all going to clap on 3. Ready? 3, 2, 1.